Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Tieska and I use books as a strategy for interpreting life, dealing with life, understanding the past so I can feel better about the present, or understanding the past so I can make better decisions in the present. And right now, I have finally finished The First Ladies by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. You can see from my tags that I had a lot of reactions to this book. I'm going to do a quick review on this book and then show what's up next. So, The First Ladies, I recommend it. I found it to be very informative and engaging. If you're looking for a fast-paced historical fiction novel, this probably isn't it. It's not fast-paced. Some people have called it slow. I didn't feel like it was slow. I felt like it was engaging enough and that there was enough of an entertaining story to keep me reading. Now, what I love about these two authors is that they stick as close to reality, to real history as possible, and there's an author's note in the back that tells you where they deviated and what creative liberties they took. I recommend it. I definitely think it's worth reading if you want to understand more about Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt and how their friendship impacted our United States and our world. I saw so much in Mary McLeod Bethune. I learned so much about her through this, and not just her accomplishments, but how effective she was as a communicator, as a woman of influence. I learned how she was very intentional about not doing things by herself. I was enamored with how she kept her purpose in the forefront of her mind, that she always had a strong sense of purpose from early memories to the end. In another video, I talk about how her purpose was given to her, not given to her, but that her grandmother and her mother knew that she had a very special purpose, that God had blessed her and put her on earth for a very specific reason. And her life really was the realization of that, the manifestation of that prophecy over her life. And I just learned so much. I didn't know anything about Eleanor Roosevelt besides the fact that she was a president's wife. I didn't know how instrumental she was. I didn't know how intentional she had been in championing the cause for Black Americans. And I didn't know that Mary McLeod Bethune did so many different things from it. I knew about her college, of course, but I did not know how influential she was in politics. I did not know how influential she was in business. So there were times that she purchased businesses, or she bought, she invested in things because Black people in her community could not get the access she needed. So she used her privilege to elevate other people. It wasn't for her own wealth or for her own empire, but it was to uplift the whole community. Right now, the phase of life, the season of life that I'm in, I am recognizing how fiercely independent I still have been, even though I'm married and my husband and I are good partners. I have a great relationship with my family and my friends, but I still have leaned more into I should be able to do things on my own. I should be able to bring my visions to life. I should be able to create whatever I want to create because I logically understand the steps or how something should go. And I'm recognizing right now the falsehood in that, because we were created for community. We were created to need one another and to fill other people's needs, to fulfill other people's needs. And Mary McLeod Bethune understood that kind of inherently. And so everything that she did was to bring people together and to uplift the community as a whole. And I loved how intentional she was about her name. She did not hesitate to correct anybody about her name. When she met the elder Mrs. Roosevelt, Sarah Roosevelt, which was Franklin Roosevelt's mother and Teddy Roosevelt's wife, Mary McLeod Bethune corrected her too in the book. And because Sarah Roosevelt called her Dr. Bethune, and Mary McLeod Bethune said that she preferred to be called Mrs. Bethune and to keep the doctor title for people who earned it. She was an honorary doctor. And when people called her Mary, that were not her friends, that were not in her inner circle. She said, "My name is Mrs. Bethune." It was just, I just loved how courageous she was. And that meant a lot to me because my first name is Tieska, and I have been called all kinds of things. And generally, my position has been, as long as nobody is trying to be disrespectful to me, then I will still respond. At work, a lot of people called me Tieska, and I would still respond because I knew that they weren't trying to be disrespectful. Every now and again, I would say, "Hey, my name is actually Tieska," and then they would, they would call me by the right name, but it was kind of, it wasn't something that I did all the time. And so just by seeing how courageous she was and how intentional she was about her name and how she would show up in the 1800s and the early 1900s, just really had a profound impact on me. I loved how she did not back down when she was sure about her cause, when she had a vision and she knew that it was the right thing. She didn't back down, not even from presidents. She said, "This is what needs to be done. This is how I know," because she had the research. She built so many things that she had the evidence that she needed to have to be influential. I loved how powerful her voice was, and how she could make people see things that weren't there. One of my favorite stories was of Mr. Gamble, one of her first board of directors and one of her first investors in Bethune-Cookman University, back then Bethune-Cookman College. How she talked about the school so much that he was like, "Man, I've got to see your school," even before he agreed to be on her board of directors and before he agreed to invest. He said, "Man, take me to your school." So she took him to the school, and he was looking for it. He was like, "I don't see a school," because all she had at that point was like a shack. It was she didn't have very much, but she made him believe so much. And that's because she was so clear about her purpose and she was so clear about her vision. And that was also very inspiring to me because, in this season, again, if I try to put something out there and it doesn't work immediately, then I'm like, "Oh, well, this must have been dumb. It must have been, something that nobody wanted. So I'm going to try something else." But she was steadfast in what she believed. And so she's teaching me. I learned a lot through this book about how to show up, how to get clear on what it is that you want and to stand on it until it comes, until you're able to bring it to reality. And then the other thing was that she did not do anything by herself. Even when she got federal appointments, her first actions were to get an assistant, start delegating tasks, because she knew she couldn't do everything on her own. And when she got her highest appointment in working as one of President Roosevelt's advisors, she created the Federal Council of Negroes. And she, as soon as she got her foot in the door, she was like, "Okay, let's get together. We've got all these different appointees here in the White House, but if we go together with one single voice, then that single voice will be powerful." There were some ups and downs with that whole thing, but just her approach to bringing people together and not doing things in isolation, it was just so powerful to me. So I highly recommend this book. I posted about this in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and one lady said that she stopped kind of reading it for entertainment and used it as a textbook so that she would have things to go and research later. And I think that's a good way to handle it too. So I highly recommend The First Ladies. I definitely think it should be on your reading list, even if you're not a person who typically goes for historical fiction. I recommend this because there are a lot of parallels. Even though this took place between 1920 something and 1940 something, there are a lot of parallels to what's happening in the United States today. It's 2026, February 13th, I think, 2026. And there are many parallels to what was happening then and what is happening now. So definitely put this on your to be read list. If you want to talk about this, if you've read it before or you want to read it and you want to talk about it, I invite you to join the Reading Lounge, which is my book club where we discuss the books that we're reading, and it's a safe space where you can share things that you might not want to put in the comments here on YouTube. but it's a space where you can be open and we can explore these books together, talk about how they're impacting our lives, and move forward together. Again, just like Mary McLeod Bethune created community and brought community together, I'm doing the same thing in the Reading Lounge, and I would love to see you there. It's a free group, so the link is in the description and in the comments. I would love to see you there. I would also love to know what other types of content you would like for me to share. So I read with my sons on a daily basis, and in my next video I'm going to talk about what I'm reading with them. It is February and the month of love or whatever, in addition to Black History Month, and I wanted to read a different book in addition to the other books on my to be read list. And there's a book that I've had on my shelf for a couple of years. It's called Love and Color, Mythical Tales from Around the World. It's by Bolu Babalola. And I'm really excited to read this book. So this is what I'm going to start tonight. And so if you want to follow along with me, if you want to get it and read it with me, again, join the Reading Lounge and let's read it together. Let's talk about some of these mythical tales from around the world. I would love to read this with you. All right. Peace.